We might have had that already.
I guess we had the Musar. The point of the Musar is that they should, if it was me and I was their rabbi, I would put an asterisk on that paper and say, I guess this will suffice as Musar. Not that I'm the one to give Musar, but if you're going to rely on Heterim, learn the halachas.
Or grow up. Maybe it's hot in the house. Boo-hoo.
No. Sometimes you really need a guy. But yeah.
In the summer is a one example, but the winter is even worse. If your pilot goes out, or if you lose your heat, or it's not turned on, and all of a sudden,
right. So that's right. So that's a good example. That's a good example. There, you could ask the guy straight out, no problem. Everybody's considered a chayla for cold.
How much checking do you have to do to make sure he's really a guy, and he doesn't have any yichus like to be a yid?
No,
if Icky could check because he knows Hilchos Mila, so no, Icky can check.
We once were on a Kids of Courage trip in one of the hotels, and they have the person in the elevator for the campers, to go up and down the elevator. And one of the guys says, "Yeah, I'm Jewish also." One of the guys who's standing by the elevator, "Well, I'm Jewish also." So they have to replace him.
There's a clip from Rav Nata. You saw that clip that Icky has from Rav Nata with the famous guy from Bnei Brak, that the Chazon Ish used all the years to sell the chametz?
No.
After he died, Rav Nata says over the mice, it's God, I said to you, after he died, his wife came to the Chaver Kaddish to bury him. She said, "Is that a guy?" He said, "No, he's a yid. He did it for Parnassa all the years."
Seriously?
Rav Nata's on video saying over the mice. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. You can't. Right, that we're going to implement the a gadol won't end up doing an issur.
Chazon Ish used him for a guy all the years.
Chazon Ish must have known that there was Dairis before that. Okay, so let's go. So Amud Aleph is a continuation of yesterday. So if the island wants to tune it out, they could tune it out. Amud Beis gets more geschmack, and then Motzei Shabbos we do an entire parak Motzei Shabbos Bez Hashem. Yeah. Okay. So Amud Aleph is basically, again, going back to yesterday. Time flies when you're doing Daf Yomi, right? So we said that there's different levels of Tumah. You have Ahava Tumah, Rishon, Sheni, Shlishi, Revi. Shlishi for Truma, Revi for Hektish. So Rebbe Kiva in the Mishnah had said that there's Shlishi for Chulin also. We paskin Chulin goes to 2, and that's it. Based on these next 5 Amoraim, who all say that Chulin ends by a Sheni, and it does not go to Shlishi like Rebbe Kiva. Rebbe Kiva said it does go to Shlishi, and we're saying not like that. So we're 5 lines down from the top on Lamed Amud Aleph. Amar Rav Asi, Amar Rav, Amri Lo, Amar Rabba Bar Isi, Amar Rav, Rav Meir, Rav Yosef, Rav Yeshua, Rav Elazar, Rav Eliezer, Kulu Svirulu. That's the easy part of the daf. Kulu Svirulu. We got 4 lines out of that. Kulu Svirulu. De'ein Sheni Isa Shlishi B'Chulin. They all say that a Sheni does not make a Shlishi by Chulin. Okay, so Rav Meir, Yetnan, because we learned in Mishnayos Para, from anything that requires somebody to go to a mikvah. Bias mayim means to come into water. Midivrei Savim midrabanan. Matames hakodesh makes hektish tamei. Upaisel es truma and pasels truma. Umutter bechulin uve meiser, and it's mutter for chulin and meiser. Here, so anything that would need midrabanan, it's tamei. Right, like we had this. A lot of this has to do with the Yud Ches Gezeres. You remember from the Gemara on Shabbos in the attic, they made 18 Gezeres, most of them having to do with Tum and Tara. So Rashi brings one example is that somebody whose his head and most of his body goes into water, then he becomes Tameh, and right, you need a mikvah. Meaning, this actually has an application even b'zman hazeh, right? Because a woman who goes to the mikvah it's not negated to men, but back then the mikvahs were so dirty, they were afraid that the people take a shower after the mikvah. They're going to think that the shower is matar them, not the mikvah. So Chum said that anybody who's right his body goes into mayim shuvim, drawn water, he's tummy. So from that, the halacha is that a woman, because it's only negeh, the only tefillah, I guess a ger would be the same thing. A male would only be a ger, maybe a kippur, but that a woman's not supposed to take a shower after the mikvah, right? Because of this gezerah. But anyway, so that's one of the examples that Rashi brings of the Yud Ches gezerah. So if somebody who did need this tefillah midrabanan, so if he goes and touches kodesh, he's going to make it tamei, which means it's going to make kodesh a shlishi because it can make something else. Tamei upaisel as a truma, makes truma pasul mutter b'chulin and b'maiser, and it's mutter and chulin and maiser, right? Divrei Rameir, that's Rameir. So Chachamim oisrim b'maiser. Chachamim say by maiser they don't allow it. However, they're being dechaylek on maiser, so meaning maiser sheni, which a person gets to eat, he just has to eat in Yerushalayim, right? So they're saying it's the same thing, but according to all opinions, that a sheni does not make any sort of shlishi for chulin, right? So that's the first shita. Rabbi Yossi, Hadamar, Rabbi Yossi, like we said, that the whole Kavachimer from yesterday. So Rabbi Yossi clearly holds that chulin can only go up to a sheni. Because if he would say laisi l'revi b'truma v'chamishi b'kodesh, because if he would really hold that chulin is a sheni, then when you use the Kavachimer, if chulin is a sheni, then he should say that revi should go, a truma should go to a revi, which we know it only goes to a shlishi, and kodesh should go to a chamishi, right? Because if he's learning the Kavachimer from yesterday, that was all based on chulin going to be a sheni, right? But if chulin would be a shlishi, so then you have to move everything up, right? If chulin's a shlishi, then truma is going to be a little bit more holy, right? And then hektish is going to be even more holy. So then you're going to move it down to truma is going to be a 4, and hektish is going to be a 5. And we know that that's not the case, right? Fine. Rabbi Yeshua, the Tanan, Rabbi Eliezer, Aimer, ha'oichel rishon. If somebody eats food that's a rishon, he himself becomes a rishon. Sheni. If you are what you eat, right? Isn't that a phrase? That's a phrase. No, you are. Here it is. I mean, maybe it comes from here. You are what you eat. If you eat a rishon l'tumah, you become a rishon. Sheni. Shlishi. Yeshua, Aimer. Ha'oichel rishon va'oichel sheni. Rabbi Yeshua disagrees. He says if somebody who is an oichel rishon or a sheni, sheni is automatically a sheni, not a meaning. The difference between him and the first sheet and between Rebbe Eliezer is that Rebbe Eliezer holds it's going to be a rishon. He holds no. The maximum you're going to be is a sheni. Shlishi, and somebody who eats a shlishi is sheni b'kodesh. Then he becomes a sheni for hektish. Ain't sheni b'truma, but not a sheni for truma. B'chulin shanas altaras truma. What about chulin that's made altaras truma? Right. So then, meaning how does anybody eat a sheni behektish? So basically, the way it was back then is that since for kahanim especially, they were afraid of becoming tummy. So what they did is even their chulin they would eat with as if it was truma. Right? They wouldn't eat it as if it was hektish. That much we don't do. That's the next line of Gemara. But they would eat it as if it's truma. So that would be the chulin that the oichel would be a shlish, or that somebody eats a shlishi would become a sheni. All right, fine. Altaras a truma in, but altaras a kodesh like. It's only if you eat an altaras a truma, but altaras a kodesh, it's not. It's regular chulin, right? And therefore it can't become a shlishi. And why taras hakodesh? Because it's not common for people to eat things al taras hakodesh. So alma kasaver ain't sheni oisa shlishi b'chulin. So he holds that a sheni does not make a shlishi by chulin. That's the third shita. Rebbe Lazar, the Tani Rebbe Lazar oimer shlashtan shavin, right? All three are the same. Harishan shebekaidish v'shebechulin v'shebetruma. A rishon For kodesh, chulin, and truma is all the same. What do? Metame shnayim. They can make, like this is similar to what we had yesterday. They can make two things tamei upaisal echad, right? And they can make one thing puzzle for metame shnayim upaisal echad b'kodesh, right? For hektish, it can go two levels, and then puzzle. Meaning, again, he's talking about rishon. It's a rishon now. So for hektish, it can make two levels of tuma, sheni and shlishi, and then one level of puzzle, which is revi, because we said yesterday, something that becomes tummy that can't make something else tummy is called a puzzle. So basically saying, so a rishon of tuma for hektish, it can make two levels down of tuma, because sheni and shlishi, and then one level below that for puzzle. Metame echad upaisal echad b'truma, but for truma, since it's a rishon, it's metame one because it makes a sheni, and then it makes one puzzle, which is a shlishi v'truma. Upaisal echad b'chulin, and for chulin it only makes one level down, right? So you see very clear that he holds that chulin there's no such thing as shlishi for chulin, right? And this next one is the most practical of all of them, in halacha, for those of us, I guess, for parrots who makes challah, right? So Rabbi Eliezer, the Tanan, Rabbi Eliezer Omer, challah nitelas min atahira ala tumeya. Challah, you can take challah from a tahar dough on a tameh dough. Basically, what you do, you have to do afrashas challah, right? So as a whole shiloh is afrashas challah, was it considered with the status of truma? Not considered the status of truma. It's supposed to go to the kohen. Obviously, nowadays we don't have that, so we burn it. I mean, lechatchila, you should burn it, right? Just when you burn it in your stove, since it has kedusha to it, you should use foil, right? If you don't use foil, then you just trafed up your stove's top or your inside your stove. Okay, whatever it is. So we're talking about in the case where, so how does it go? So the shear for challah for somebody who's baking alone, it's what do you call it? 1 in 24. For somebody who's baking for what do you call it? It's double. If you're doing it in a commercial level, then it's 1/48. Right. So the question is, what happens if some of the dough becomes tummy, right? So now the question is, can you take challah from one off from the other, right? So here we have a way how to do it. So Ketzad, how are you going to do this? So again, Rabbi Eliezer is holding that you could take off challah from a tahar on a tameis. How are you going to do it? Shtei isas, achas tahar, achas tameis. You have two doughs. One's tahar, one is tamei. So now noitel. Now you want lechatchila. You want the doughs to be touching. Okay, you want the doughs to be touching. We'll get to the practical in a minute. So how are you going to touch the doughs if one is tamei and one is tar? So then, if the doughs are going to touch, you're going to make your tar dough tamei. So what's that going to help anybody anything, right? So how do you do it? So what you do is naidul kitei challah miisa shaloi hurma challah. So what you do is you take a sheer challah from dough that you didn't take off the challah from yet, right? And then and you put it near the other dough, the tamei dough, but not touching, right? So then you take less than an egg's worth of dough, and that's how you connect the doughs. All right. Now the reason why pachas mikabeya, which Gemara is going to bring a sheet that changes it, but the reason why pachas mikabeya is because less than an egg becomes tamei, but it can't make something else tamei. Right. So it's going to act as a barrier. Again, basically, you're going to have a thing of dough of tumah. You're going to have a thing of dough of tahar, and then you're going to attach them with a little piece of dough less than an egg's worth. Now that egg, so obviously that one's going to become tamei because it's touching the tamei dough. It will not in turn go and be metama the other one because it's already a shlishi, right? If the tamei dough is a rishon, that middle dough will become a sheni. It's not going to be metama. Well, it's not going to be metama, at least according to this pshat, because it's less than an egg's worth. Why? Could they lital in order to take him in a mukav? So mukaf literally means surrounded, but means you want to be able to take the dough lechatchila when everything is touching. Right? So that's the first pshat. Right? Fine. V'chacham say it's awesome. Right? When we'll write Betanya, and then we had a different brisa that kibetza, you could even use a kibetza worth. Yeah? Why sabrua? They're both talking about the dough that was the first, the ishta was a rishayna, right? The dough that was tummy was a rishon. B'chulin atfulin l'chala like a chala dami, and chulin that's tevel for chala is not like chala, right? Meaning we don't look at it like it has the kedusha of chala. We look at it as like kedusha, the no kedusha. We look at it like it's chulin. So now you have the tummy dough is a rishon. The little dough that's either less than a kebeya or more than a kebeya that touches the tummy dough becomes a sheni, right? And the second shot is that it's even an egg's worth. So how come it's not going to make the other piece tummy? Must be because he holds that chulin only goes till sheni and that's it, right? And that's why the middle dough could even have the size of an egg, right? So therefore, you clearly see that he holds that there's no such thing as shlishi by chulin. Fine. Now the Gemara says, "My lab what's the machlok? Because the masaver ain't sheni oisa shlishi b'chulin." The first shita holds that the second shita holds the one that says it can be an egg size says sheni is not going to make a shlishi b'chulin, so we let it be as big as it can be. Again, the dough that's tummy is a rishon. The dough that's touching it will be a sheni. That's it. It can't go further. So therefore, you might as well use dough that's bigger than an egg. And this first shita that says it has to be less than an egg, Umar Sav Hasheni is a shlishi b'chulin. Hasheni does make a shlishi for chulin, and that's why that middle piece needs to be less than an egg. Right? Okay, just stop for the practical of this, and it comes up a lot. I had it a few times today. I mean, that's every Friday. A woman forgets to take off challah, and all the challahs are baked. Right? So now what do? So what you do is you try and put all the challah, you want all the challahs to be touching, right? Either put into a bag or pile them up on top of each other. This you could do even after they're baked, and then you take off one piece of challah from one challah, and that's enough, right? But what happens if a woman's making two batches of challah?
We do that with matzah, no?
Exactly. That's exactly what you do with the matzah, right? You put it all into the box and then you take it off.
Right.
100%. Very good, right? That's how they do with the baking matzah, because by matzah, you have a problem, right? Because you don't want it to become chametz.
Right.
So, okay. So that's one thing. But you could also, let's say you're making two batches of dough, each one 5 pounds. Do you have to take off challah from each one? Right? Now you have I don't want to call them overzealous noshim tzidkonias, but they want to take off challah twice. So they can make 2 brachas. Right, 2 5-pounders. There, as long as there is.
This is the problem with the challah taking parties, no?
Could be, but if each woman makes their own 5 pounds, that's fine. But we're talking about where, we're talking about where you're making your own 2 5-pounds. As long as it's in the house, really, as long as it's in the house, certainly if it's in the same kitchen, you could take off of one and it covers the other one, right? Not like here we're saying we're trying lechatchila to get it to touch, but okay, but that is the practical from that. Okay, so we're almost done with the Tum and Tara. Samar Amari Breder Rav Kahana, the Kuliyama, so right now we wanted to say that the machlokes between the first opinion that says that middle dough that's going to attach the tameh to the tar is less than a kebei, right? Is the one that holds it needs to be less than a kebei because he holds there is such a thing as shlishi for chulin. And the one that holds that middle dough that's attaching the tameh to the tar can be bigger than a beya is because he holds that chulin doesn't go past the sheni, so it's no problem. That's what we thought. Now the Gemara is going to say a couple of other options. Everybody holds that a sheni can't make a shlishi. So what's the machlokes? Their whole machlokes is dough considered chulin in order the dough that's. You mean you have a dough that you're going to make into bread? Is that going to be chulin or is that going to be like truma, right? Meaning, what chashivas do we give to it? So marsa v'kachala dam. We say it's like chala, so therefore chala it's like truma, and therefore it has a shlishi. Marsa like chala dam, and the other one, Rabbi Eliezer holds that it's not like chala, and therefore it doesn't have a shlishi. Yeah, meaning once it becomes chala, once you detach it, avada becomes a shlishi, because that's it's hektish, whatever, it's truma, right? We're talking about before you separated it. Does it have the din of truma? So that's a machlokes. Okay, viba is same with the kuliyama chulin atfulin lechala like a chala dami. Everybody holds that chulin that's not yet chala. It doesn't have a din chala. Vein sheni oisa shlishi b'chulin, and a sheni does not make a shlishi b'chulin. V'acha b'mutter ligram tuma l'chulin sheberetz Yisrael kamiflagi. We're talking about there's a machlokes whether you're allowed to cause tuma to chulin in Eretz Yisrael, right? Meaning, which it basically is, do we, right? We had this a bunch of blot ago. We try and limit the amount of tuma that there is in Eretz Yisrael, right? So the question is, should you just go make random chulin dough tame? Meaning, what's wrong with making it dough tame? Well, we didn't discuss that part. Why can't I just attach it to the challah? Big deal. So I'm not a kohen, right? I'm not a kohen. Why can't I have
chulin? You're going to be giving it to the kohen. You're going to be giving it to the kohen.
No, but it's that would be giving the truma to the kohen. But the rest of it, what do I care? Right?
How are you making the whole batch tummy if you want to give it to the kohen?
Well, no, because if you hold that it doesn't have the status of truma until you separate it. So meaning, Kolzman, you have the whole dough, right? Like you're about to take off the piece and then say the bracha lahafresh challah. It doesn't turn into truma till it's separated. Right? That's what it's saying.
Okay, so
according to that shita, why can't I let the dough become tummy?
after you separate it.
Are you saying that if you separate it, you're saying that if it's separated, and if you keep it together,
and you let it and make a tummy, so the tummy is tummy.
Right, but correct. But if it's good and a chanami, but if you're going to make it with less than a kebeya, then it won't become tummy.
That's the different case. We had two batches, not one batch.
No, we're talking about two batches here, right? We're talking about two batches here, and you're attaching it, right? So we're saying that right now, this third shot is saying that chulin, that's tevel for challah, is not challah, meaning so it doesn't have any status of challah until it becomes detached. Vein sheni oisa shlishi b'chulin, and a sheni is not going to make a shlishi, right? So when it's attached, it's still a chulin.
Okay.
Right? So therefore it can't become tummy. It's a weird thing. Now that it's good you're bringing it out, because I'm getting it. I think I'm getting it clear as we talk. I hope. But anyways, you have a dough that's tummy. You're attaching it with another dough to the third dough that you're going to take off the challah, right? Right?
Okay.
Yeah. So what is it? You have a dough of tumah, that's a rishon. Then you have another dough that's tahar. Now you want to attach the dough, so you're going to use this third piece. So if you hold, which the Gemara is saying now we hold, that chulin, the maximum is a sheni, right? So kolzman, all this dough is attached, it's not tummy because it's chulin. And it's a shlishi. It's a shlishi right now. Right? Again, you have the tummy dough.
So you attached it beheti, you said. You attached it beheti with the pachas mikabeya, yeah.
Right. So you have the one here, you have a thing of tumah. Then you have a thing of tara where you're going to take your challah from. Now you're attaching with a dough in the middle. So right now this is a shlishi, and it's challah, and it's chulin. Right? It's chulin now because we're going with the sheet that holds that until you separate it, it remains chulin. So right now when you take it, the second you take it off, that's when it turns into truma. It's no longer attached to the dough. It's a good shtick. I say, you got to make sure you don't make the bracha too early, too late, right? Isn't that correct? You make the bracha too early when it's still connected. Now you made it into truma, it's going to be tummy. So that you're 100% right. Meaning you'd have to pull it off. I don't know how you do it because you have to make the bracha before. I imagine the yeshiva should have a good time.
It has to be over Las Yosem with the Evid.
I mean, lechatchila, it's better to be. No, you want to make the bracha.
Mention now we're doing it not over Lasiyasim.
Okay, good. I'm saying you want to get into those.
I thought you said
you can't do it. You can't do it
first and then make the bracha.
What?
Aren't you supposed to take the challah off first?
I don't know how you do it. I don't know. I thought you make the bracha first, then you take it off. No, I don't know, Peretz. How do you do it?
I did it both ways. I was doing it first that way, and then I was doing it the other way.
I hear.
You told me take it off first.
I mean, it's not going to be ma'akiv, but yeah.
So that's what he's going to have to do here. He's going to have to
I guess you're going to have to pull it off and then make the bracha. But as long as we understand the lumdus, right? Meaning, I don't know if it's lumdus, whatever, the technicals. You got to make sure. Right now, it's chulin. When you pull it off, the second it comes off, it becomes truma, but it's no longer attached. So therefore, it's okay. It's a strange thing, Rabbi, right? Because it comes out this whole thing wasn't tameh, and only because it wasn't truma yet. Had it had the name of truma before, if you would have made it challah before, then it would be tameh. It's only because, yeah, all right, but that's.
It could be talking. There's no difference. You can make the bracha and then take it off. The bracha is not what makes it challah. It's the removing it, that brusha that makes it challah.
Correct, but I don't know if you have in mind if you're looking at it. No, isn't there something about that? You're being meyachid.
No, you're supposed to, but only like on Shabbos and Yom Tov. Without saying it, you're supposed to be meyachid a certain part of it. That's going to be the end. But without that, you can't really be meyachid. You've got to end up with bigger issues. If I'm meyachid a part of it, then cut it off. What happens if I cut off a tiny speck less than what I was meyachid? Yeah, there was bigger issues. So you're not really miyachid. You just say, okay, whatever I cut off is going to be challah.
Yeah. Okay. I guess there's a technical way to do that. Yeah. Okay, whatever it is, but that's what's going on here. So we're talking about the whole shaila is whether it's mutter to cause tumah to chulin in Eretz Yisrael. Meaning a regular Yisrael should care less about whether this thing becomes tumah. Marsavar mutter ligram tumah l'chulin Yisrael. It's mutter. So it's asur, so therefore use less than a kabeya, so it won't make tumah, right? Yeah.
I don't understand. Either way, it can't make tumah. If there's no ein shlishi b'chulin, so it can't make tumah. So why doesn't everyone use a kabeya? What's the point of less than a kabeya?
Because it's going to make
tumah is a rishon,
right?
The piece in between is going to be a sheni.
Right.
Either way, whether it's less or more than a kabeya, it's going to be a sheni.
No, but it's going to make it. If it's
so the less that you have, the less you're making tummy. That's the point.
I think so. Okay. Weiter. That's the hard part of the daf. The next part is I don't know if it's gishmak, whatever. What time is the early Shabbos? What time is the mincha?
6:05.
Ooh, okay, let's go. Okay, so by B'yam Darash Rebbe Kiva, on that day, Rebbe Kiva darshaned. Yeah, so meaning that another thing that he darshaned on that day was we had a machlokes over whether the Arei Levim, the Levim cities had 1,000 amas or 2,000 amas. So by my committee, what's a machlokes? And this mamish comes up a lot. Mar Savar Tchumen Daraisa. One holds, Rebbe Kiva holds Tchumen Daraisa, which that's what he holds throughout Eruvin. Right, Umar Savar the Rabbanon, and Mar Savar he holds it to the Rabbanon, right? Meaning if it's deraisa, what's his raya that it's deraisa? Because even though there are other sources other than this that it's deraisa, but you see from here that there's such a thing as 2,000 amas, so therefore it's a deraisa, right? It's very negeya to somebody, a woman who goes to the hospital for a baby, and the husband it's false labor, but the hospital's added a tchum. Can they come home? Can they not come home? Right, so if it's tchum is the rabbanon, okay, so they can to the rabbanons. Getting back to Amir al-Akim thing, right? It's to the rabbanons, and then they could come home. But if you hold tchum is deraisa, then it's not so simple to have a guy doing this deraisa for you. Even if you have the monthly service,
just call Danny and Valerie. That's it.
That's right. Even if you pay your monthly fee, doesn't mean that it's mutter. Okay. The next part is easy. We'll try and do as much as we can. So feel free to log off. Right? They put their eyes to say shira and oz yashir. How'd they say it? Kugadol Amakar. So now we have three pshatim and how they said shira. Kugadol Amakar Zahalal. They did it like the way a gadol read halal, meaning back then in the old days, people didn't know halal bal peh. So how did they read halal? So you'd have somebody would read halal out loud, and everybody else would answer Rashi Prakim, meaning that's where the word halaluka comes from. After every halaluka, the chazan would read it, and everybody would say halaluka, right? Halaluka, and that means that they're maskim to whatever it is that he said, right? So, by El Yashir, how did it go? Moshe Amar Ashira Lashem, Behinayim Ashira Lashem. Moshe Amar Ki Goiga, Behinayim Ashira Lashem. Sort of like a Sephardi davening, if anybody's been by a Sephardi davening, right? All of a sudden, they just all together say whatever, right? Something like that. That's the first sheet. No, it's not like that. It's like a katan who reads halal. Now, a katan who reads halal, everybody can't be yaitza from him because a katan can't be mitzi gedolim. So when the katan would read halal, they would read pasuk by pasuk, like we do when we say, and a lot of times when we say tilim, so it's pasuk by pasuk. So Moshe Amar Ashira Lashem, Ve'hein Amar Ashira Lashem. Moshe Amar Ki Goiga, Ve'hein Amar Ki Goiga. Okay, so that was a lot. That would be a lot longer. That would be a lot longer process. It's talking about a cipher, which really means Talmud Chacham, a teacher, whatever it is, who explains Shema, who not explains, who Pyrus means literally he breaks up, meaning he's the chazan for Shema and Shul. Shehu Pesach Tchila Ve'einoin and Achrav. Right, that's the way. That's basically what we do. Is the chazan says the first pasuk out loud, and then everybody continues the whole thing. So Moshe Rabbeinu said Oz Yashir Moshe, and then the Kal Yisrael finished the Oz Yashir on their own. Right, but my komifli, what's this whole thing? What are these three opinions disagreeing with? Rabbi Kiva Savar Leimar on Milsa Kamaisa. Leimar is going on the first thing, meaning on Ashira Lashem. So Leimar is saying, so all of Klal Yisrael kept saying Ashira Lashem. Moshe said a pasuk, they said Ashira Lashem. Moshe said another pasuk, Ashira Lashem. Leimar Akol Milsa Milsa. No, Leimar is not just going on the first sentence; it's going on everything, which is why everybody in Klal Yisrael said each sentence. That they're saying is everybody saying it together. Leimar, what does it mean? That's what Vayomru says. And Leimar is the pasuk of Moshe Bereisha. Leimar is that Moshe said the first pasuk. So basically, according to Reb Nechemia, Moshe started with Az Yashir Moshe V'nei Yisrael Shir Azois. Well, it can't be Az Yashir Moshe. It has to be the next pasuk, right? That's the first pasuk is us saying what happened. Right? Ki Goiga, Ashir Lashem Ki Goiga, that Moshe started with, and everybody repeated, everybody just said the whole Az Yashir themselves. Right? Okay. We finishing the no. Do we have time or do I have to leave? What?
I'm good.
My minute is 7 o'clock.
My minute 6:45.
All right, so we'll go a little bit more. Okay. So Torah yeah.
It's mashma from here that Az Yashir Moshe, that pasuk is not part of the shira.
Az Yashir Moshe
is like right. It starts with
like
Ashir Hashem.
How could it be? Why would you think Az Yashir Moshe is?
Because it's written as part of the shira in the Sefer Torah.
Yeah, that's true. It's written with but l'chayra it's not.
It's yeah. Why? It's not so odd. It's just like the pasuk of Moshe burying himself. That was a machlokes tanoim, whether Moshe wrote that or not.
Right, I hear that. Yeah. Okay, good. So Tanavan Darish Rabbi Yosef Glili B'Shashalu Yisrael and Ayam. When Klal Yisrael left the water, Nasno Enem Leimer Shira. Right? They said Shira. V'Ketzad Amru Shira. How'd they say it? Oilul Mutal Al Birkei Imay. If you had a baby sitting on his mother's knees, V'Tinek Yanik Mishade Imay. And a baby nursing from the breasts of his mother. They saw the Shechina, the little kid picked up his neck, and the Yatinak took the breast out of his mouth, and they said, this is Hashem, and I'm going to make him whatever Anveyu means. Yeah,
this kid was able to talk or was not able to talk?
I don't think so.
And now he was able to talk?
No, I think they just were part of it. They just paid attention. Okay. That's why I understand it, but I don't know.
Okay.
They were like the Gedolim. They say stories. They made brachas on their mother's milk. Okay, it makes you happy. So good.
No, I just trying to understand what's going on.
I understand that. I understand what you're trying to understand. I don't understand what you don't understand either. But yeah.
The big chiddush here, not the chiddush, but the fascinating thing, at least that I found, is from 4 lines up from the Rashi. It says the 4 lines up from the bottom in the Rashi. It says v'kach sharsa ruach hakodesh al kulam v'kivnu yachad es hashira kiksava. Right, ruach hakodesh went on to everybody. Right, and they were mekaven together the shira, meaning everybody. This is going according to the last opinion. How did they know what to say? Right? Should have pointed this out before. Reb Nechemia is saying that Moshe started with Ashiru Lashem Ki Gaiga, and everybody just said El Yashir. Well, how did everybody know? Right? They didn't have papers. They send it on a WhatsApp. Right? So Elamai, Rashi's saying the entire Klal Yisrael was mechaven together to the exact same Shira.
Which Rashi?
4 lines up from the bottom.
Is that the only time that they ever agreed on something?
Don't worry, it didn't last more than 2 days. They were fighting again.
It was a nace that had happened for 2 days.
But that you think that nace would keep them going?
They were complaining, not fighting.
Didn't they touch the chumash? Didn't they have the Zakanim? They touched the chumash in different places and all came out with the same parish.
Yes, that's true. Taka by Gemara Megillah. Right. What's the name? Yeah, I love her nace.
They weren't fighting after Joshua. They were complaining.
They said they want to go back to Mitzrayim.
Complaining. They weren't fighting. They were complaining.
Well, they were complaining, meaning if such a nace happened, how can you complain 2 days later? All right. Okay, whatever it is. You see it, Rabban, 4 lines up?
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's what he's saying. So from that Rashi is mashma, the kivnu yachad is ashir. So maybe the kids were mechaven it. I don't know if it means that they actually sang it, right? I don't know. Oh, so the Shashanem, the pasuk is mipi oil and v'yankim yisadata ois, from the mouths. From the truth is from this pasuk, it's mashma. They did say it, David, right? From the mouths of the kids and the babies, right? Yisadata ois, there was strength. Okay. Even fetuses said Shira. Shenemar on Tamar Aleph now. Uvemakala Baruch Hu Elokim Hashem Imekor Yisrael. Right, with Kehilas, right? We got plenty of Kehilas nowadays, right? They said it even from the Mekor, right? Now this next part is not in the Yalkut Shemaini, the way the Masoras Shas says it, and it's not in the Ein Yaakov either. So Gemara says v'haloi chazu, but they how could they see? They were in the womb. How could they see? Right. So Rab Tanchum, keres nasalahen, the stomach was made for them. Aspaklaria hameira v'ro. It was like it became like see-through, and it had light, and therefore.
So it was a womb with a view.
Very good, Jess. It was a womb with a view. Yes, yeah, very good. So it's a womb with a view, and that's how they were able to see, and that's how they were able to be included. All right. I'm not sure why the Yalkut Shemaini doesn't have this. All right. Yeah. Okay. Whatever it is, fine. The Olam should have themselves a fine Shabbos. And
the Chevra, should show up on time, Matzi Shabbos, because the Chevra, you have a chance to have 2 double L'chayims.
That's right, Taka. That's right, Parrots. It's not often, I don't know, it's probably the only time Shas. We're finishing two Prakim, Parrots. Look how long the next parak is.
Oh, I didn't see that part. I saw the other one.
Yeah, the next parak is 1 blot.
So we can't push it off till Sunday night?
And since when does it stop you?
It doesn't stop me. It just gives me an excuse.
We could do Chazara. Sunday.
Doesn't need an excuse, but it's nice to have one. I think
no, but he might just, even for him, it might be too much after our full Shabbos Kanahara. So
not a chance.
Okay.
All right.
Sure.
Okay.
Have a good Shabbos.
Anyway,
so, Tiago,
yes, have a fine Shabbos.
Would this count if you have it all in the oven and you forget to take off challah azay, and then you can take it off that way? Is that considered attached?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. You didn't take off challah parrots?
No, I did. Just asking Stam so you can just put it back
That's
in
a
the
good
oven. and
message.
do it that way.
But try putting your hand in and taking color from it. It's still baking right now.
Right, you look like you're in Hell's Kitchen.
This is my kitchen, man.
He's in
I know.
his-
That's where the
This
magic
is my heaven. This is my heaven.
Good job, everybody.
Have a good job.
Parrots, you having a minion?
Yep, that's a sham.
I hear you.
Well,
When, 5 minutes ago?
I'll see you tomorrow, Bezrat Hashem for Mencha.
All right. Enjoy Rabbi Groner.
Try.
Avi.